Well, it's coming to that time of year when the weather's on the turn, everything's getting a little bit colder, fishing's getting a little bit harder, and you need to start thinking about how much bait you're feeding. I'm going to run through a few little method feeder tips to help you catch more fish at this time of year. The method feeder is a great tactic all year round, but this time of year I do like to scale down my feeder size. Why? Well, the fish aren't as hungry, they're not as active, and I don't want to create too much bait in my peg that's going to actually spoil my session. So I like to use a little small feeder. This is an ICM method feeder, and it just gives me that flexibility to regulate how much feed is going into my peg, so I can regulate how many times I cast to how much bait is going in my peg. You've got to compare it to when you're pole fishing, when you've got small cad pots. Sometimes you're only feeding 10 and 20 pellets, but with a large method feeder, you can completely overcook your peg before you even start. So scaling down your feeder size is a must at this time of year. I like to keep my bait choices very simple when I'm fishing with a method at this time of year. I don't like to overcomplicate things and have loads of different baits on my side tray to confuse myself. So I've got some match method mixed dark. I've chose the dark version because at this time of year, when the water is cooling off, it gets a little bit clearer, and the darker colour just helps to give that fish a little bit more confidence and keeps the fish hunting around your peg and not get spooked very easily. The next bait is 2mm Pro feed pellets. Micro pellets are great all year round, especially in the winter. They don't have that much food content in them, and you can regulate how many of them you feed. And I like to have them in separate bowls to start with, because I like to start my session on the match method mixed dark. I like to start it on ground bait because I don't want to give the fish too much bait to start off with. I like to nick off a few fish just with a bit of ground bait, and I've got a little mini bandem on there, white chocolate bandem. Pop it in the middle of the mould, pop more ground bait on the top, so it's almost like a ground bait sandwich if you like. Give it a good squeeze, release the mould, and there you are, perfect. I like to give it a little bit of a squeeze there, just to make sure that I'm confident that all the bait's going to get to the bottom and break off if you like, and then my hook bait's going to be in the middle. That ground bait doesn't really ruin your peg too early, because you don't know how the session's going to go. It could be absolutely solid and you have to fish micro pellets all the session, but sometimes ground bait can outscore micros, especially on them really cold days. And by having the both tubs next to each other, I can potentially half fill the top with micro pellets, put my hook bait in, then the rest with ground bait. So it just gives me that flexibility to alternate between different baits. I touched on hook baits, but I want to tell you why I use brighter hook baits at this time of year. As I said earlier, the water does clear off, especially when it gets colder, so brighter hook baits, in my opinion, give you a much better chance of catching fish. I do like pellets and I do like maggots, but for me, these little mini bandems, especially when I'm fishing for F1s and carp, they're absolute must. And these really bright visual colour, the yellow and the white, in my opinion, are the best colours just for me, but that's personal preference. We do loads of different baits in the Sonubaits range, and loads of different bright hook baits at this time of year will definitely catch you more fish. I just want to talk now about where to cast. I'm fishing Packington Summers today. I'm on Willow Lake, and it's a typical snake lake if you like, and there's full of F1s and carp. And at this time of year, when you approach your peg, I see lots of anglers fishing even down the middle on the feeder. In my opinion, it's just not right. I just think you need to be across in the latter part of the snake lake, if you like. The reason being is that F1s and carp like to hold up in features and snaggy looking areas. And as you can see from my peg here today, I've got loads of overhanging reeds, bits of bramble sticking out, but straight in front of me, I've got a nice flat area that I think looks perfect to cast to. And I like to fish within a foot of the island if I can. And using a line clip, it's really, really simple and easy to get in the same spot all the time. And it's good because you can build up a little peg. So I'm just going to fill my feeder, quickly fill the mould, put my hook bait in the middle, like we said earlier, give it a good squeeze, release the button, give it a good squeeze like I said, just to make sure that it's all going to get to the bottom in one piece with my hook bait. So I'm going straight in front of me. You'll see a nice little weedy area either side, but there's a nice flat bit of banking, and I think I'm going to try and cast within a foot of that if I can. So here it goes. Here it goes. Hit your line clip, feather it down, and that's what you want to hear, that plop, because that means that your feeder has landed weight first. And like I said, a foot of the far bank is a great starting point, but make sure you look for any sort of fishy looking features. That's a great starting point. There we go, a beautiful fish to finish off the session with. Had a great day at Packington Summers, and I hope you've picked up a few little tips about method feeder fishing. It's a great tactic all year round, but remember, you need to adjust things when the weather gets colder. Put him back.